Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, K-Nexion's YouTube channel proudly presents to you its #1 podcast in the world, the SmackDown K-Nexion. And if you're not down with that, then I got 2 words for ya. Please subscribe. I mean, really, it would be nice to just break into double digits. Is that too much to ask? Alright, now all jokes aside, I am very excited to talk about the draft, so let's get right to it. Oh, the show definitely pulled no punches this evening. The Raw brand got the #1 draft pick, and that pick was the man, Seth Rollins. Made sense in my mind. Got no faults with this. I mean, of course, Stephanie McMahon backed Rollins for a year in the authority. Why not back him now as a #1 pick? SmackDown turned right around and picked Dean Ambrose. Just made perfect sense in picking the WWE champion as, one of the show's first picks. The third overall pick was a pick of Charlotte. It was then followed up by SmackDown choosing AJ Styles. Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley said they were looking for the future, and the final pick of the top 5 was an NXT call-up in Finn Balor. Now let's talk about these picks for a second. If you're just going on, or how these GMs and commissioners are rating their picks in general, that means Raw, Seth Rollins is top heel, and Finn Balor will be top babyface. Am I sensing that is going to be the next feud on Raw after Battleground? Because I'm in if that's so, because that sounds like a hell of a match for SummerSlam. No doubt those two would absolutely tear the house down. If you're looking at SmackDown, it looks like their top babyface is Dean Ambrose, and their top heel is AJ Styles. God knows that is a SummerSlam main event in the making. My mind's already swimming with the fresh rivalries they have forced on themselves, pretty much. I'm also shocked that neither John Cena nor Roman Reigns were in the top 5 of these picks. Now, the opening match was Luke Gallows versus John Cena. It seemed to be a good match, but also most of it was cut out from the commercial break. The crowd was really into it. It seems John actually let Luke Gallows get some offense in, as opposed to his match with Carl Anderson a few weeks ago where he didn't let Carl even breathe. Based on the crowd reaction though, mostly since we missed most of the match, I'm going to give it a C- to start off with. The next segment also coincidentally contained the next 5 draft picks, and it started off with Raw's Mick Foley choosing the true biggest heel in the company, Roman Reigns. SmackDown followed up with a franchise John Cena. Raw countered with the next pick being Brock Lesnar. SmackDown answered back with Randy Orton. And finally, to close the segment, Raw drafted all 3 members of the New Day. Now, I want to take a second for everyone listening to digest this for a moment. Raw seems to have taken the 2 most talked about dopers this side of the decade, while SmackDown is looking more like the old guard. All jokes aside, if you break down the choices, this seems to be a completely different call than what I made yesterday, because they are putting all the youth, excluding Dean Ambrose, on Raw, and all the experienced veterans on SmackDown. I'm also seeing what looks like to be a new version of the SmackDown 6, forming with Dean, John, Randy, and AJ. If they can stay healthy, get ready for some fantastic matches, because, I mean, those guys' ring psychology is out of the world. So the next match of the show was a tag team match of the mid-card. It was the mid-card champs, The Miz and Rusev, versus their opponents at Battleground, Zack Ryder and Darren Young. I can tell you one thing, the crowd seemed really, really bored because they were chanting everything except for what was going on in the ring. We heard everything from "We want Lana" to "We want puppies." Darren Young received a hot tag, and that inexplicably is when the crowd seemed to pick up the emotion for the match. I kind of scratched my head on that one. Darren's kind of been weirdly booked. But Darren Young ended up putting the Miz away with Bob Backlund's old finisher, the crossface chicken wing. I'm surprised this crowd was bought into him because no other crowd before that has been. But I can't shit on this match that badly because the crowd was invested, so I guess I'll give it a D+. We come back from commercial break and straight into another match. This time it's Bray Wyatt versus Xavier Woods, and they were still planting some of those seeds for long-term storytelling in this one. Bray is hypnotizing Xavier at different points of the match, and I'm liking the slow burn storytelling they are doing with the New Day versus Wyatts. If you were to ask me a month ago, I hated this idea. But as it unfolded, I'm liking the story more and more, and I'm curious to see where or if WWE is going to pull the trigger on actually breaking up the New Day. Bray Wyatt wins the match with his sister Abigail, and the match gets a C. Now we cut back from commercial break, and the next segment appears it's going to be a match between Kevin Owens versus Kane. Before Kevin can even get down to the ring, though, Sami Zayn jumps him from behind on the ramp, and they have a fist fight down to the aisleway. It eventually pours out to the ring, where Kevin Owens whips Sami into Kane's meaty hands. Kane has his hand wrapped around Sami's neck when Kevin is egging Kane on and saying, "Oh, do it, do it." Kane ends up getting mad at both Kevin and Sami, so he grabs both men for a chokeslam and then proceeds to do that. The segment continues with draft picks being chosen as Raw starts off with Sami Zayn, SmackDown follows up with Bray Wyatt. Mick Foley then makes fun of Daniel Bryan for not picking any women so far, so Mick chooses Sasha Banks. Daniel responded by picking up Becky Lynch. Then Mick Foley ends up ending the segment by choosing Chris Jericho. Now I'm going to reflect on this for a second. With the women's division's current roster, I don't think it's the smartest move to split them in half the way they started to do now. I think it's a very small roster to begin with, and if you're going to cut that in half, it's going to be the same repetitive booking over and over again, unless you're really going to just start pipelining those women into both shows. I mean, you're only going to... obviously we're going to see Charlotte and Sasha probably continue on for the next 5 months. It might even be featured at WrestleMania. Sasha versus Charlotte, the 1800th time. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too negative. Let's see here. Bray Wyatt gets added to the exclusive club of the new and approved, what I'm deeming the SmackDown 6. That's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how that fluffs out. Chris Jericho, honestly, not mad at him. Him joining all the young pups over there on Raw. Honestly, he's having the matches of his career right now. Me personally, I don't care if he ever wins another match ever again, because God knows he's accomplished all he can, and it's surprising the man can work like he can still at this age. I mean, I think he's been sipping on R-Truth's Fountain of Youth, because he's working the same now as he did when he was a world champion in 2009. Heck, if it only makes sense for him to stay on the Young Pup show and keep putting over young pups, because he's a brilliant heel, and he can just get his heat back the very next week anyway, so it don't even matter. The next segment is a 2-on-1 handicap match between Sasha Banks going against Charlotte and Dana Brooke. I really want to get behind Dana. I really do. But she is just not on Charlotte and Sasha's level. Just not. I'm giving up on that. She has been there in their system for three years now, but she is still very botchy. But the match went on as expected. Sasha was getting several hope spots in. Most of the handicap matches usually go this way. It wouldn't have made really any sense for Sasha to pick up the win here because they're getting ready. They're getting ready to feature, those same two opponents going against her and another opponent at Battleground. So, what sense would it make if Sasha got the win here? Because then she pretty much proves that she don't even need an opponent to beat him at Battleground. So, there's a big hoopla over who's Sasha Banks' partner at Battleground, Bayley. I have no idea who could possibly be Bayley. I guess we'll just have to see Bayley. Gosh, my allergies are killing me. Anyway, I give this match a D+. It would have scored higher, but I deducted a whole letter grade just for Dana's sloppy ring work. I mean, she botched a full backstabber spot and then ended up running to the other side of the ring just to take it over there. It was very silly. She should have just worked. She should have just went with the flow, but I don't know. Maybe she's a blonde Eva Marie. Moving on, the next segment was 5 more draft picks. They're becoming more and more meaningless as the show goes on. The first pick was Raw choosing Rusev and Lana. The second was SmackDown picking The Miz. Now we know which title's on which show. Raw has U.S. Championship and SmackDown has the Intercontinental the IC title. After that, Raw picks up Kevin Owens. SmackDown then chooses Baron Corbin. And finally, Raw picks up Enzo and Cass. The one gripe I have about these little draft pick shows is, only the top 10 really mean anything, and after that they start losing steam as they keep going on the show. It's like, why are you even telling me this? I think it would actually be better, if next year, if they continue with these drafts, next year, if they just predetermine them before the show starts, and then just roll at the bottom picks and just keep going up as the show progresses. I don't know, it's just a little different insight because, it'll just build tension throughout the show and it'll keep giving you a reason to keep tuning in, It's like, oh, well, who are they going to pick up next? If you're told Enzo Cass was picked up at the beginning of the show, it's like, oh, wow, they're going to Raw, awesome, And then, oh my God, John Cena is on SmackDown. This is freaking insane. Just throwing out lobs out there, just little different examples. The next segment after the commercial break is Raw, the new pick of Raw, Chris Jericho, taking on the still free agent Antonio Cesaro. Any match with these two is going to be something magical because they are both so solid and constantly changing their game. Cesaro still tends to shock me with new moves every time I see him in a match. I mean, he's the man of 1,000 European uppercuts. Just like Mario Ronaldo says, there ain't no party like an uppercut party because an uppercut party don't stop. The match could have gone either way. I mean, it was really 50-50 the whole way. It ended up ending with a failed springboard European uppercut reversed into a code breaker, which actually looked really nice. If the match was longer, I would have given it a better score, but since it was making TV time, it was put under 8 minutes, so it got a definite solid C+. After a commercial break, we come back to a pull-apart brawl with Becky Lynch and Natalya. I think this is actually strange because you never really see these with the women's division, which is actually a little refreshing because last time they would WWE would attempt anything like this. They just made it look like a cat fight, but this like looked like a straight shoot. Like it was really good. They had like at least 10 security guards on each person. You know, like it almost looked like Brock Lesnar, Undertaker level. And then after that, you know, after they pulled him away and, you know, started building a little tension, I can actually, it's probably the first time I've ever seen Becky Lynch look strong since being on the main roster, period. Like, she always looked like the dope, you know, like, oh, look at my best friends, PCB. Oh, Paige stabbed me in the back. Oh, look, Charlotte stabbed me in the back. Oh, look at my best friend, Natalya. Oh, Natalya, the bitch slapped me across the face. I mean, she's got to be the most stupidly gullible person ever. So finally, she finally looks strong. Continue on in the segment. We have another round of picks. I'll just go ahead and blaze the room because they're starting to lose meaning as they go. Some of them seem a little questionable, but if we're holding up kayfabe in terms of how they're booked, I don't get why they're here instead of a little bit lower. I don't know. Raw's pick was, oh, we finally get the OG Bullet Club reunion. I mean, they got they picked up the tag team Gallows and Anderson. So now that's going to be interesting. With now we're going to see the Balor Club. I'm guessing. I still like OG Bullet Club. They should go with that, definitely. SmackDown's pick was really shocking. American Alpha. Oh, and then I was sitting there thinking, oh God, Shane, please on your next pick Kurt Angle, because I need to see freaking a new 2016 version of Team Angle. That would make my year. Oh, the matches that would come out of that would be amazing. Let's see here. Raw's next pick was the Big Slow. Whoop-de-doo. After that was Dolph Ziggler. And finally, Nia Jax was picked up for Raw. I feel if we're talking kayfabe terms, why in the heck are we choosing Nia and not choosing the former NXT Women's Champion Bayley? I mean, come on. We then cut to another commercial break, but after they come back, they start doing more draft picks. Why not, right? The first one was Neville, who got drafted to Raw. Natalya, who got drafted to SmackDown. Cesaro then got drafted to Raw. Alberto Del Rio got drafted to SmackDown. And then Sheamus ended up going as the last one to Raw. I don't have any problem with these picks except for Neville's, really. The guy hasn't been on TV since the build-up to WrestleMania, and that could have been used for an NXT call-up, really. I mean, we could have just looked up on WWE.com and seen what show Neville was going to. I mean, trust me, I'm a Neville fan, but he hasn't been talked about. He hasn't even been relevant in 5 months. I mean, why are we doing that? I mean, is he immediately coming back next Raw? I mean, if that's the case, I can kind of see this, but still, I think that one should have been like a more of a surprise for when it actually happened. Like, you know, it could have been like against Sheamus in a match, and all of a sudden they announced Sheamus' opponent is Neville, and then Sheamus has somebody to feud with, and probably, you know, be all Bebop or Rocksteady or whatever with. Finally, we get to the last match of the night, the main event. It's a rematch of Raw's main event, which was a WWE Championship match between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. This one I could definitely say was a lot faster paced. A lot more high spots. Crowd was a lot more into it. It didn't have the slow burn, which I enjoyed the slow burn, but they should have laid off the rest holds too much. I mean, they wrestled way too much Monday. But this is SmackDown's review, so on the SmackDown things, actually, when they attempted this top rope superplex, the same spot that knocked out the referee last night, but this time, Seth Rollins happens to miss the referee, and then Dean Ambrose, when he rolls back up, he just turns it up into a Dirty Deeds and then blasts Seth Rollins right in the middle of the ring. And it was a clean finish. Like, he won via Dirty Deeds. Honestly, it was really unexpected. The crowd didn't expect it. I sure as hell don't expect it on free TV, but I guess they're pulling out all stop because they really want to sell SmackDown as a legitimate show. I mean, finally, SmackDown hasn't been great since I think Paul Heyman was writing for it back in like 2007-ish, maybe. Oh no, he was doing ECW then. It was 2004. I'm sure if somebody's listening, they'll correct me in the comment section down below. But anyway, honestly, this is probably the best Dean Ambrose has been booked since Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank. I mean, Dean actually looks like a credible threat. Like, he's actually looks strong. Actually, Seth right now looks stronger than he did when he was, World Heavyweight Champion last year. I mean, last year he needed the Authority to do everything for him, and he was like on some BS Triple H shit. But I digress. The match itself, B minus, really. Like that match was awesome. I really enjoyed it. The crowd really enjoyed it. They even made Seth look strong in a clean finish, which was really. I mean, shout out to the whoever was the road agent put together that match. I'm impressed. Good job, man. Give yourself a pat on the back. The whole show, in my opinion, gets a C+. I can't wait to see the new breed SmackDown 6 take care of business on Tuesdays. Just like I'm going to take care of business on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, with these podcasts coming every week. I'm K-Nection, and that I'm signing off for the week. I won't be back until Battleground, when I'll do our Battleground K-Nection 2016, coming to my YouTube channel. If you like this, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. I need some more viewers. I want to quit my day job and do this the rest of my life. If I could just go get paid to talk about wrestling all day, that would be fantastic. I would never stop. But I will see you all next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and thank you very much. Have a wonderful night.